Are we fucking rolling? We are. Sweet. What's going on, everyone on the internet? Welcome back to EDT, the Everyday Thoughts podcast, hosted by Devin and Casey. Welcome to episode, what is it, 4, 3? One of those two. In between those, it's called 3.5. Yeah, it's been a while since we've filmed an episode. It is January 25th when we are recording this. Anything you want to say to the two people watching, Devin?
Why? Why do you watch us?
Is there any reason? Well, we have like more views on our channel, but like I'd say a good 40-50% of them are me, just refreshing. I kind of got tired of it. I'm like, why am I doing this? Oh man, is that illegal? What I've been doing?
I do believe it's actually against terms of service.
I only did it a couple times. Don't worry, we're tiny. Fuck, we didn't fit your last fucking requirements to be
Monetized.
yeah, and we definitely don't fit the new one. So I mean, it's no big deal.
Aw, dang it. I was really looking forward to getting demonetized.
Me too. That rule's really only for like the established YouTubers. Honestly, it's like us. The fuck does it matter? We don't do shit. We're not siphoning money off anyone. We were just trying to make a road to what is it, 1,000, 10,000 that you had that? I think you had to have like 10,000 views. We were just trying to make it go a little
And I
faster.
think you had to have 10,000 subscribers.
It doesn't subscribe. No, I'm pretty sure it was 10,000 views, and then now you have to have like a certain amount of subscribers,
Well, no, I think you had to have 10,000 lifetime views.
something like that. I don't know. Anyways, point is, we're very insignificant.
Very, very, very insignificant.
But I mean, it's like we're just starting out. So what can you really do? That's why like we're not also like doing this for money, anyways. So, but it was worth a shot.
You act like it's over. It's a sinking ship.
we just started like we just set sail, and I'm already like, well, it was nice working with you.
3 videos. We didn't get 1,000,000 subs, man. It's over. We're done. We're done in this town.
We're done, man. We're not an overnight success. Can't make it anywhere. That's just the sad truth. Oh, that was retarded. But anyways, let's just move on to the next top or the next. Let's just move on to
The first.
Let's.
First topic, Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's got loot boxes now. Anyways, moving on.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. It's kind of interesting what they're doing.
It is kind of interesting. It's so Ghost Recon actually is now introducing loot boxes, which I understand can be really concerning for some people because before, did they have loot boxes before at all? Like any sort of like microtransactions?
I'm pretty sure. No.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a while, but I remember at least first starting out there were no microtransactions, which everyone was like stoked about. But an article by Digital Trends says that Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands has undergone some pretty major changes since it originally launched nearly a year ago, with new content expansions and a few competitive multiplayer updates. As with many AAA games recently, Ubisoft is now jumping on the loot box bandwagon. Not really surprising, to be honest with you.
Are we ever surprised when a company adds loot boxes these days?
Not really. I mean, everyone gets pissed off and everyone gets worried and says the gaming industry is getting ruined. But I mean, it's really only just evolving, and that's part of the price.
I'm waiting for PlayStation and Xbox to introduce loot boxes into their system alone.
Honestly,
New avatars you can only get out of a loot box.
that wouldn't be surprising, to be completely honest with you. It's part of the industry. It's just part of the ever evolving industry. If games don't cost $150, you know what? They're gonna milk as much money out of you as they possibly can after you pay the base $60, because games cost a lot of money to make. But anyways, here's where things get interesting. But the company promises that players won't deal with a Star Wars Battlefront 2 situation. So there you have Digital Trends throwing some shade at Star Wars.
Ubisoft making fun of EA. It's like the two assholes fighting it out.
It's the turd sandwich and the giant douche. It's a classic South Park, the old conflict.
Whole conflict. Yeah, in the 1700s, the great turd sandwich giant douchebag fights.
Exactly. For lack of better words, the old conflict. South Park. It's a classic. Everyone knows it. The article goes on to say that in the Ghost Recon Wildlands Extended Ops update, which will arrive by the end of January to all platforms, the game will introduce battle crates, between quotes. These are boxes containing cosmetic items that are usable in both campaign and competitive Ghost War mode. So that's interesting. You can use these new cosmetic items in both campaign and multiplayer. And supposedly they're only going to be cosmetic. So they're not going to affect the gameplay at all.
Why do companies always feel the need to make up a name for their loot boxes? Like, we know what you are. We don't need supply crates or fucking battle boxes.
Overwatch is pretty straightforward. It's not like loot boxes like a fucking it's not a registered trademark or anything.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was someday though.
It might be, actually. Now that I think about it, because Overwatch isn't loot box, it's a loot crate.
Is it also loot crate? What? Get your facts straight.
I believe it says loot crate.
No, call it alternative facts.
So it lies.
But yeah. Battle crates will be purchasable in game stores for 400 quote unquote store credits, and players will also be given two for free through the Ubisoft Club. Currently, 800 credits cost between $3.50 and $5. So you're looking at a few bucks per battle crate. Unlike the loot boxes in games like Overwatch, you are guaranteed to only get new items in battle crates.
Another new annoying way companies hide how much their loot crates even cost. Just, it's credits, it's game credits, it's not money.
Yeah, that's what's really awesome about what Ubisoft is doing, is you can't unlock things twice, essentially. Which is great, because I've played Overwatch and fucking and Call of Duty. Not so much the recent Call of Duty, but the past Call of Duties where I've actually bought loot boxes. No shame. I've actually bought loot boxes and I've gotten all duplicates before. Can you imagine that? All duplicates. Like, you pay money to essentially get shit you already have. It's like there's no transaction at that point. You're donating money. I donated money to Blizzard and Activision.
Keep making games I don't quite like.
Exactly. You're just like, you could just have this. Well, I mean, Overwatch is pretty cool. It gets really frustrating when your team doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
So 90% of the time, but yeah. Whatever.
There are two different types of battle crates. The first is the Spec Ops crate, which contains epic and exotic.
The names again.
Well, I mean, what do you expect? Weapons as well as vehicles and cosmetic items for use in the campaign.
Vehicles, I feel like they mean skins.
Probably.
They're not going to give you a whole car in a loot box, I doubt.
That would be cool, though. If that is the case, that would be pretty dope.
Yeah, but then you get to that point of people can buy a perk in the game that gives them a big advantage over you, and then you do have a battlefront problem.
But I don't know. Maybe the vehicles are only used. I don't know. We'll see how they play out. We should play that game pretty soon. Check it out.
Try out the Predator DLC. Try and kick that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Where was I?
Spec Ops package. Cars.
Right. Ghost War crates contain similar goodies. Really?
Goodies.
Goodies.
What the fuck did we just go to a fucking 8th grader's party? Don't forget your goodie bag.
I like goodies.
Sorry, I mean crate.
For the competitive multiplayer, as well as icons, character skins, none of these items will affect your damage or other statistics, nor will they enable you to progress any faster. So, there you have that.
The Division 2.0?
Yeah. Loot crates that aren't going to affect gameplay and are only going to be cosmetic, and hey, you can't unlock things twice, so fuck.
Quick side note, speaking of The Division, I've heard recently somehow it's apparently good now.
Yeah, no, I've heard about that too. We should try that game too. A lot of these old games that we sunk money into and that we just stopped playing.
Launch problems, and then we stopped playing, and then they patched the fix everything.
But then we were just like, we had other games. But I mean, shit. Now that we're bored of these other games, we can go back to those old games that we sunk fucking like nearly $300 into.
Well, not into one, but yes,
Well, not into
as a group.
As a group, we gave a lot of money to you people. Give a shit.
You sink $300 into one game, it's kind of sad.
So yeah, what do you think about that ultimately?
What part? Wait, I'm sorry, I'm lost. What?
Of all of that.
Well, I do like the. Well, did they say if you can earn them, or do you have to buy them?
I think you have to buy them. Actually, let me check the article. No, it doesn't seem like you're. Doesn't seem like you can unlock them. It seems like you can only buy them. You can only buy them through store credits, which are only purchasable.
Yeah, to me, then I like that they're not doing duplicates. Like that's a really good step for loot boxes. But I mean, if you have to buy them,
maybe you can earn store credits.
Well, I mean, like
in game.
I don't think that's ever how that works in games.
Well, I mean, store credits, like, has that been a thing? I think that's
Call of Duty has COD points.
Call of Duty, yeah, Call of Duty COD points, isn't that?
But you can't earn that without buying them.
Can.
No, you're thinking of Armory credits.
Right.
Which buy contracts. But I mean, like, it's a good step for loot boxes. But I mean, if you have to buy them, then the whole you don't get duplicates kind of becomes less of a ooh, that's a progressive thing to do with loot boxes, and becomes more of a well, no shit. If I'm paying for something, you better not give me two of the same thing.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. We'll have to see because we can't be 100% for sure until we play it. So we should play actually maybe after this if you're down.
I think it needs to like have a million updates, but we can see.
Yeah, we'll try. If not today, then tomorrow. But anyways,
if not, Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. But I don't know. It's like I think it's a good way to implement loot boxes. You know, it sucks that it would really suck if you can only buy them and you can't earn the store credits. But if you can earn the store credits and you have to buy them through store credits, I think that's fair. You know, but the fact that they're only cosmetic, I think it's a really good thing. Seems like a trend that I think maybe Overwatch set. There were probably other games that did only cosmetic loot boxes before then, so I could be wrong. But Overwatch is like really well known for that in their loot box system is only having cosmetic items. The only problem is a lot of people complain about duplicates in Overwatch, which, you know, of course.
Well, I mean, there's nothing worse, like, even in Call of Duty World War II, when you open up a supply crate, which, thank God, you can at least earn in the game some ways.
Yeah.
But, like, you open one up and you're like, ooh, new stuff. And especially before those cards flip over, you can tell what rarity they are, which makes it even worse when it flips and you're like, I already have that. Fuck you. You're like, oh, legendary. It flips around. Oh, fuck you. I have that. But here, we'll give you 500 armory credits.
Well, thanks, Activision. I didn't just like donate money to you.
I can't count how many supply drops in World War II I have opened, and they've literally all been duplicates. Like all three items have been duplicated.
Duplicate, heroic duplicate.
I don't even know what happened. Like the first week of the game, I somehow have like every pistol grip. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I've gotten them all somehow. I swear to God, I opened like 3 supply drops and I had them all.
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty straightforward story. Seems like we'll have
interesting, but we need to see where it goes.
Let's see where it goes. Yeah. So take it with a grain of salt, or rock, a giant fucking cube of salt, maybe,
or a train. And speaking of trains, have you seen the story of the lady that got thrown off the train in LA? Well, I say that like she got violently thrown off mid-venture, but you know.
Right, she was...
she wasn't violently thrown off the train before she got to her destination and while it was driving, but you know.
Take it, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was free. Can you imagine that? Just chuck somebody out the window mid-train if they don't have a ticket. Like, seriously, what can you do if they don't have a ticket? Do you just wait at the stop?
Well, I'm pretty sure you wait till the next stop and they get arrested.
That sucks.
You get to your destination, you just don't get to go where you want it after.
What do you just book it?
Then you get chased down, and then you get eluding police officers added to your charge. Welcome to felony. Now you're in prison.
But what if you get away?
It's a big what if.
Just a joke.
for a free train ride. Yeah, I'm risking a prison sentence for a fucking free train ride.
Oh man, this is just a joke, NSA. Please don't come to my house again.
But yeah, no, pretty much the LA Transit has like a policy of don't put your feet on the chairs because, trying to keep things nice for people. And apparently, I think from what I heard, like multiple people or multiple, like maybe security or something asked her, or like officials or something on the train asked her to remove her feet, and they did. She wouldn't. So they had some transit or a transit officer come talk to her, and she wouldn't do it for him either. So then he said, okay, then you're getting off the train. She wouldn't get off the train. So then, he grabbed her and removed her from the train. All while, people saying around, what you doing? You can't do that. You're over aggressive. You're a fucking pig. And, all that kind of stuff. And
Whatever.
then, people are freaking out about it. And then her friend gets arrested for getting in the middle of it all.
Right, I saw that too.
That was kind of interesting. But then you just have these people crying that he escalated the cop escalated the situation. So I was like, what do you, like, Mike the cop had a perfect video on it where he just talked about, like, use of force on camera is never going to look good against a non-combative person because you are technically removing someone who's not actively fighting you, but they're also not listening. And then at that point, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Gotta get them off the train? Your job. Like, come on.
I can understand some of like the frustration behind some people in a way because you'd think it's like, come on, for simply just like leaving your feet up for something so simple, but at the same time it's like she sort of put herself in that situation because she wouldn't. It's just putting your feet up. You just take them off. It's like it's not a big deal.
Oh, and then because in the video she starts yelling like, well, I paid for a ticket. I paid to go on here, and it's like, okay, but that's like saying you paid to go into a building. You don't own the damn building. Like, you still have to, when you buy a ticket, you're technically signing a terms and agreement. Like, yeah, I'll follow your rules. It's not your ticket.
It's like going to a movie theater. It's like, just because you go to a movie theater doesn't mean you can fucking, like, just do whatever you want in there. You can't fucking smoke a joint while you're watching Spider-Man, kick your feet up on the other chair. They'll kick you out. But I paid. But you broke some rules.
Trust me, he's tried.
I have. It's not easy. I mean, I've gotten away with it, but it's not easy. No, kidding. Again, just a joke, NSA. We should make a T-shirt with that.
I'm sure it exists.
Probably. But, yeah, it's honestly pretty ridiculous, just like how something so small escalated into something so big. And I get people's frustration in that regard, but when you're not listening to a transit officer, what more can you do? I mean, it's not like you can say, okay, ma'am, have a good day. She didn't listen to me. What was I supposed to do? It's a policy. If you're not going to follow it, sorry. I can't see why he was in the wrong. I understand that no one likes to get manhandled. I mean, let's be honest. But if you're not going to comply, then what do you expect?
Well, I mean, it's like he wasn't manhandling you. A cop's not gonna manhandle you unless you give him a reason to manhandle you.
Exactly. And then you see like some outlets, like I saw Now This on Facebook, which, by the way, I wouldn't say 100% credible source, but I mean they're pretty biased. They report some facts, but some of them are very alternative facts, if you would. But they were trying to spin it in a way it's like, as if she was the victim, as if it was going to be like the next, was it Delta or United that shit went down?
I believe that was United.
Yeah, United Airlines. They were trying to like spin it in that sort of like, in that sort of narrative. But it just, if you really look at the whole situation, they weren't in the wrong. She was just being really difficult. So like, what more can you do?
Well, it's like you invite someone over to your house, and then you're like, okay, but just like, please, it's my one thing. I don't like it. Don't put your feet on my coffee table. Then they come over, put their feet on your coffee table, and you're like, dude, can you not? Or I'm gonna ask you to leave my house. And they're like, no, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then you're like, get the fuck out of my house. No. And you fucking grab them, throw them out of your house, and then people are like, why the fuck would you throw them out of their house? You invited them. They were your guests. And then the CEO on Twitter, I think it was Twitter, but I mean, he put out an apology regardless, and it's just ridiculous. He said, like, that he was sorry, that he wished the law enforcement would do better, and that everyone should remain, like, or like their things are there to make sure everyone's comfortable, and this didn't make everyone comfortable, and it's like, like you're apologizing for something you don't need to, like. And not only that, like, what are you complaining about? That you have a rule about this? It's your rule. It's literally your rule he enforced.
Though I will say one thing: I have not seen the entire video. I've really only like heard of this story. So, I'd say like if we would watch the video, which I'm not gonna waste the time to do that here, because
Well, I've seen the whole video, and I can give you the gist. The quote unquote manhandling is literally just grabbing her arm and pulling her out of the train, and then handcuffing her against a wall. That is the quote unquote man. Like, there are so many worse videos you could technically, where cops are even in the right, but you could still look at and be like, "Well, that's a little brutal." But like, come on, like grabbing someone's hand and like pulling them out of a train car, putting them against a wall, and handcuffing them. That's the worst thing you can think of that's happening right now.
yeah, I mean, if it's just grabbing your arm, then it's just, yeah, I don't see the big problem in it then, you know.
Well, I mean, it was an open subway. I mean, you just pretty much just pulled her out. Just okay, get the fuck out. Not didn't drag her, nothing. Just pulled her out.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you have that. It's pretty straightforward.
Pretty much. And then another story we've got is, I don't know if you heard about this, probably, pretty sure, on YouTube. The a woman, I think she's a vlogger. She sent an email to a motel inn kind of thing.
I know what you're talking about. The White Moose Cafe, I think it was called.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess
Something
it's a
like that.
hotel too, ish
Yeah,
thing.
it's a hotel.
But apparently she sent them like a email offering pretty much like room and board for, I think it was,
It was like in exchange for like how many days?
I don't remember. It was, I think it was about 4 days or something. I don't know.
Yeah, in exchange for like I think it was 4 or 5 days of free rooms. Essentially, she would promote the hotel in like various blog posts and Instagram and YouTube and whatnot and all that shit. She sent that email to the White Moose Cafe, and then the manager of the hotel actually posted on Facebook a copy of that same email, except with her name blacked out between quotes. We'll get to that in a bit. Blacked out her name, and essentially calling the whole thing ridiculous, saying who's going to pay for the staff that's going to attend to your room, who's going to pay for all of this, and saying that he's sick and tired of the entitlement that comes with being a quote-unquote social media star, at least something along those lines. And a lot of people have been giving her a ton of fucking like shit. And so she made a video explaining, I forgot what it was titled. I think it was like titled like that she was exposed. And in the video, she essentially explains the entire situation, that she had made this proposition to the hotel for free rooms in exchange for free promotion, and that she felt ashamed, she felt embarrassed, she felt anxious, she felt scared and threatened for her life because of everything that's been thrown at her way. Not surprisingly enough, a lot of people are actually getting behind her. A lot of people in the blogging community, as well as a lot of her fans, of course. Just like building this sort of support system around her, and have sort of fired back at the hotel. And there's just this back and forth going on between the both of them at this moment. And it seems to have only just escalated even more with just even more blog posts and all that shit.
Well, it seems after her video, it was less of back and forth between them, and then the story went more about, because then they banned vloggers from coming to their hotel, apparently. And then they made a couple posts about that. And then it kind of seemed to be more of like the motel manager guy, or whoever, whatever he is, pretty much just making fun of vloggers and entitlement and things. And like they even had a fake press release and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I don't know if you've gotten this far into any research on it, but it turns out it seems like the whole thing was he did it intentionally as a viral marketing campaign.
Oh, of course he did. I'm sure at first it was like a genuine response. Like he was like genuinely angry at that. It's like, how fucking dare she? Like the audacity of this woman. But he probably did like eventually did see the opportunity, like, what if I milk this a little bit? And that's exactly what he did. And he's just milking this for every like thing it's possibly worth.
I mean, he's getting his company name out there more than he would have through her at this point.
Exactly.
So,
Though if you actually look at her proposition, uh, from what I hear, it's actually not very crazy. I wouldn't 100% know because I'm not in that realm of quote unquote social media influencer. But from what I hear, it's actually not a bad deal because of the amount of traffic that she gets, the amount of attention she gets, the promotion that he would have gone would have been worth a lot more than the 5 night stay. But of course, because of how smart he's just playing this whole thing, he's made so much more promotion off of it.
I mean, but also when you get a promoter like that, to be honest, thinking about it as a business standpoint, what he's done is probably way better, not
Yeah.
just in terms of who's seeing it,
Definitely.
but in terms of if she promoted him, you're gonna like, that's a narrow fan base, and I don't think
Yeah.
a motel advertisement through them is going to really do much for them, to be honest. Let's be honest, like her fans aren't gonna see this and randomly go to this one motel, because isn't it like one? It's not even a chain. It's just like this one-off, interesting hotel place.
Right.
So it's
I could
like,
see that.
but in the way he did it, it leaves her echo chamber of fans, and it broadens it to more just general newsgoers who are just looking at shit.
Yeah. It's honestly really funny just like how he's played this whole game. He's playing his cards very well.
He's doing outrage media pretty much. Cause outrage so that people see your name, and then your name gets out there.
Yeah. I think it's called outrage marketing. He's a genius in a way. And then the fake press conference was just that was so unnecessary, but it was so funny. Oh, and going back to the whole blocking her name out. Supposedly, he didn't really block her name out very well. It was somewhat transparent. It wasn't 100% just blackened out. So you can kind of see her name. So he says that he didn't reveal her name and that she outed herself, but if your like screen was bright enough, you could definitely see the name. So I mean, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I mean, it's a little unprofessional to leak someone's email that when they made a business proposition and just like, you could have just said no. Like, you could have just said no if you didn't like it. Didn't need to be this big thing, but yeah.
Yeah. But also banning social media stars in general, just it seems come on, dude, that seems unnecessary. Like, I get it. Her proposition was stupid, but if someone is just like wants to stay there and is going to pay their way, then like, fuck, man.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
you gonna ban them too?
feel like that's less of, I think it was more of an empty statement because let's be honest, how many social media stars were probably going to pay or ever going to try to stay at this one motel that's random?
Well, I mean, if you look at his Facebook posts, like he is kind of lumping all like bloggers between quotes in sort of this basket of entitled narcissistic pricks.
Well, he's
like,
also kind of shit posting, though. I don't think he necessarily feels that way.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think
He could also be
I mean,
trolling.
I
You're
think
right.
the way he's playing a lot of this stuff off is it's part of the outrage marketing he's doing. He's intentionally doing it and just shit posting so that people talk about it
Right.
and get even more outraged. And then
I don't know. His language in the whole thing, it seems pretty condescending towards bloggers, which of course I get. Like he's playing that outrage marketing, but how much of it is like his actual feelings?
to be honest, I don't think we'll ever know.
Who knows? Yeah. But anyways, um, that's pretty much all we have from that story. We don't know all that much about it. You can go ahead and do your own little research about it. There are plenty of videos on it.
I'm sure Drama Alert's covered it,
Yeah.
if that's your thing.
Drama Alert, Philip DeFranco, Scarce, if he's still fucking alive doing shit. I would watch this channel at all.
I have. He hasn't changed.
Apparently his cathedral's really religious. You don't say. Such news. Such anchor. Such articulate.
Dead memes.
Yeah. The blogger's name is El Darbe or something like that. I just realized we neglected to say her name entirely.
It wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't that pertinent to the situation.
Yeah, I guess not.
On a depressing note.
Yeah. Well, if you guys haven't heard already, there is a,
Family?
I don't know. How do I start this?
You stopped at there is a,
No. Oh,
and then kind of just stopped.
I'm trying to think of what I can go into or how I can go into it. I don't know. There's really no way to segue into this without sounding like a dick. So we'll just jump right into this last story. It's pretty saddening, honestly. It's about bad home life, obviously. An article on People magazine reads that police in Paris, California were shocked earlier this month to discover that 13 children of David and Louise Turpin had apparently been living in a house of horrors, allegedly kept malnourished from lack of food and regularly abused. Most of the kids had also been imprisoned and tortured in the home, authorities believe. So if you guys haven't heard of that, this is the House of Horrors story. It's essentially, it was a family of 13 kids that were chained up, locked up, essentially deprived of food, really deprived of the outside world for a big part of their lives, and essentially tortured by these two monsters that I would never dare call parents. The article goes on to say that Turpin parents, they're not parents, fucking People magazine. The Turpin sperm donors were soon arrested and remained in custody, having pleaded not guilty to the dozens of charges against them. Their attorneys noted they are presumed innocent. Well, no shit. Everyone's technically presumed innocent until proven guilty, but I think these people are going to be proven pretty fucking guilty pretty easily. So, I mean, say
Have
what
they
you
not
want.
been yet? I can't remember.
Oh no, this is very recent actually. I don't even think they've had a court date yet. I think they've only been arraigned so far, but they have not technically been convicted as of late. The children ages 2 to 29. Ages 2 to 20. Holy shit, dude. Imagine 30 almost 30 years old. You are a grown fucking adult and you have been abused by these two fucking animals your entire life. How, man? How do you
I mean, from what I've seen, like reports of, they said that the older kids don't, like, they look super young even though if they're 30 or not, because they're so malnourished.
makes sense? It totally makes sense to me.
Like
I mean,
I
it's
think
just
the what was it? I think it was a daughter that was the one that finally got out and reported it.
I think so. Yeah, it was one of the daughters that had escaped, and then
I can't remember how old she is though, because I remember they said like the cops that she found and talked to first, like they thought she was way younger than she turned out to be.
I think she was. They thought she was 10 years old, I think, but she was clearly much older than that. I think she was like 14, something like that. I could be totally wrong. I should. Hopefully, the article will say, but let's keep reading. Children ages 2 to 29 are recovering at local hospitals and reportedly providing information to investigators. Only the youngest child, it seems, was somewhat spared. Let's see. As the prosecution proceeds, several key questions remain unanswered. Below is a context for some unknowns. In this case, has made international headlines. How did the family keep such extreme abuse hidden? Honestly. Speaking to reports last week, Riverside, California District Attorney Michael Hestrin said it appears no one noticed what was happening. He detailed a few pieces of information from the investigation that apparently show that this could have been the case. For example, Hestrin said the Turpin family was regularly sleeping all day and up all night. What's more, the 6 minor children were officially being homeschooled, so they rarely had to leave the house and were kept off the radar of outsiders such as teachers, coaches, and counselors. So these kids were deprived of the outside world all of their lives, not even a big part of their lives, their entire lives. They've been homeschooled and they've been just trapped and locked inside their rooms. It's completely cut off from society.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah, honestly, it really is. Just how can someone go through that? It's I couldn't imagine being there, being one of those children.
I can't imagine what it'd be like to try to recover from something like that either.
Honestly, I mean, thankfully, it's like the younger children. They still have a chance to recover and to heal, but
And live a somewhat normal life.
right, but 29 years old and your entire life you have just been have been just abused by these two monsters.
Locked up, no education.
No real education, no fucking well, I mean, not to say that homeschool isn't real education, but who knows if these people were even teaching them well or what they were teaching
Well,
them.
let's be honest. If they had them chained up and stuff and locked in rooms, I doubt they were actually even teaching them.
I mean, they were completely malnourished. I can't imagine that they were like retaining any information that they were being taught. So,
If any at all. If they were being taught any at all.
exactly. So let's presume no real education, no no practice, no knowledge of the outside world, no zero social skills. Fucking, it's gonna be tough. They have a very long road ahead of them, and it really makes me sick thinking that I hesitate calling them people, but yeah, dude, they're not even human to me. They're subhuman to me because they're just monstrous. Honestly, it's ridiculous how anyone could do this to their child. The article goes on to say that the family also had a history of relocating. Though David, that's actually a pretty common thing amongst people who abuse their children. Is oftentimes relocating is when their neighbors get suspicious that, hey, these people aren't right. They keep themselves a little too often. They start asking questions, start getting suspicious. Something's not right, and then they all of a sudden get up and leave because they know people are onto them for whatever reason. That sort of thing in particular happened with the Gypsy Blanchard situation. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't know what it's called.
Gypsy Blanchard. She was she was a girl. I forgot what her mother was named is Dee Dee Blanchard. Her mother had what was called Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which means that she essentially made up these diseases and these illnesses and these conditions that her daughter had in order to gain sympathy, in order to gain money, in order to essentially just scam everyone she's ever fucking known. And eventually it boiled over to the point where Gypsy had enough and straight up had her boyfriend murder her fucking mom. And now she's in jail. And turned like she was in a fucking wheelchair. She had her head shaved because supposedly she had some sort of leukemia. She had a feeding tube. She had all these unnecessary surgeries. She was being absolutely tortured for the sole purpose of monetary gain and material wealth for her mother. It's
Jesus.
some people, dude. It makes me wonder. Like, do we need a test? Do we need to test people before they're fucking parents?
Psychology test.
Honestly, some people have no fucking business being parents, dude. It baffles me how sick some people can be.
I honestly don't, to be honest, understand how some kind of just psych exam hasn't made its way into public education yet. It's like something you kind of just go through, and then if someone seems a little troubled, they get put, not like a watch list, but, if things continue, then you kind of have a history of it.
I don't know, man. It's just, it's heartbreaking, honestly. Let's see. But anyways, the article goes on to say the family had also had a history of relocating. Though David and Louise reportedly grew up in Princeton, West Virginia, they later moved to Texas, where they lived for 17 years. In 2010, they moved from the greater Fort Worth area to Marietta, California, and from Marietta to nearby Paris in 2014. And that's pretty much oh no, wait, there's more actually. As they relocated, the abuse of the children only intensified. Estrin alleged at news conference on January 28th. He told People magazine, crimes that occur with a family like this are by their very nature difficult to uncover because they happen at night, under the cover of darkness, behind closed doors. They happen in secret, so there has got to be something that uncovers what happened in the dark and in the secret of this family. Neighbors have reported having limited contact with the Turpins, and Louise's brother Billy Lambert told People he was unable to speak with nieces and nephews despite repeated requests. They were a little odd, but I didn't see anything to call authorities for, neighbor Wendy Martinez told People magazine. When another neighbor and her son saw 3 Turpin kids putting up Christmas decorations in 2015, she said that they were taken back by the interaction. We said, "Oh, the decorations look so nice," and they froze. Wow. Kimberly Milligan recalled, like, when young children want to divert a threat, they think they can pretend to be invisible. That was the last time the family put out Christmas lights. Holy shit, dude. So zero social skills because they've just been deprived of social interaction for so fucking long. It's just, oh my god, it is really fucking with my mind right now.
It hurts to think about. Like,
It really does.
just imagine being in that situation.
Imagine seeing that, thinking to yourself like, fuck, and then later on you find out about this. Like, not that it could really do anything because these people knew how to hide it. Much about the family's behavior is still unclear, including why the suspected abuse allegedly escalated over time and how the parents were unable to control their children so absolutely, especially when the oldest ones are in their 20s and at least one son was enrolled in college. Hestron was asked about a possible motive last week and said, "I don't know that I can answer that completely. As a prosecutor, there are cases that stick with you, that haunt you. Sometimes in this business, we're faced with looking at human depravity, and that's what we're looking at here. The son in community college was always chaperoned by his mother," Hestron said. Can you fucking imagine that you're in college and you're being followed around by your mom? Holy shit, man. As the possibility of a cult or religious element in the family's behavior, Hestron said, "Not that I know of." When asked if the children were brainwashed, he said he'd be speculating. People previously confirmed that Louise and David's marriages date back to February 1985. She said she was 16. I don't care about this. So it mentioned Katie plus... Oh, this is crazy right here. She had mentioned the K plus 8 show, that it was a cool reality show. He said, "I think deep down that's what she wanted, a big family." So, it doesn't say in this article, but there had actually been mentions that she wanted to pitch a reality show to a network about her family. She said that her kids would be perfect for TV.
I don't think it would be made. It would have been, they would have showed up, left, and then
Really?
police would have arrived.
Can you imagine that fucking show?
I mean, that's speaking of, that's kind of one thing I remember reading. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly. Was the daughter that, like, I think she found a cop, but what I read is she didn't know to talk to him. She just kind of talked to him because of the way he looked like the cop.
Jesus.
Because she didn't actually know what a cop was.
Fucking hell, dude. In fact, yeah, actually, the article talks about the daughter. It says, the conditions inside the Turpin home were only made public after one of their children, a 17-year-old girl, escaped the home before sunrise on January 14th, then called 911. Authorities believe that she likely slipped out of her bedroom window. But how did one of the siblings, whose activities appeared to have been tightly controlled, get access to the phone that put her parents behind bars? Authorities have not confirmed how the teen came to acquire the device, which was deactivated at the time she used it, meaning it allowed her only to place an emergency call. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so that's interesting.
So they got a hold of a non-active phone, but because it's a non-active phone, it can only make 911 calls. But that's kind of creepy to think about. What if
she had not found that phone?
No, the creepy thing to think about is, what if she didn't know to call 911, but the only reason she did was it's the only number allowed? I'm not saying that's what happened, but that would be creepy to think about.
That would be interesting. That could very well be what happened. The girl with several of her siblings had been discussing some kind of escape plan. Hestron told People for about 2 years they at least thought about escape. As to why they chose the day or the time, I just don't know. I think we will know more when we get this case ready for preliminary hearing. That's crazy. And there's still more to this fucking article, but what do you think of that so far?
It's insane to think that someone was... I mean, to be honest, this sounds like some weird, crazy prison escape, but it's something that happened in a family's home.
Fuck. Having to make that plan, and then having the courage to actually go through with it.
It's bad enough when a stranger kidnaps someone and does this kind of shit to them, let alone someone that's your blood and someone that's related to you.
Someone you're supposed to trust, someone you're supposed to have faith in, is supposed to protect you, is supposed to care and nurture for you. And they do that? It's just...
Well, they did the literal opposite.
Exactly. They're the exact opposite of parents. They're like the antichrist of parents.
Never even thought about that. It's probably stupid because it's probably so obvious, but I didn't even realize parents are probably called parents because they're a pair.
A pair of ants.
Oh, I don't know, but like there's some meaning behind it.
But anyways, the article goes on to say that in addition to the dozen charges each of torture and false imprisonment that David and Louise face, they are also accused of 7 counts of abuse of a dependent adult and 6 counts of child abuse. But David faces an accusation that Louise does not. He is charged with 1 count of lewd act on a child under 14. Though authorities have not elaborated further on their allegations he was sexually abusive, if our investigation uncovers more crime, we will file more charges, Hestrin said last week. About the only thing that the children were allowed to do while chained up to their rooms was write in journals. He told reporters, "We now have recovered those journals, hundreds of them. We are combing through them for evidence." Attorneys for David and Louise, who are barred from contacting their children, have declined to comment on the case beyond broad reactions to the seriousness of the allegations. So that's another thing, that they're totally banned from speaking to their children for, I think, like two years or so, something like that. Like, why not just ban them from like ever seeing them ever again, like at all? Is that possible? Is that a thing that can happen?
I mean, I think it's more of a thing with the legal system where it's like you can't necessarily say that someone in the future can't not, like, in case a kid wanted to talk to them for some reason, but like, let's be honest, if they get all those charges, they're going away for probably life. And I mean, the kids will literally have the choice to not talk to them or not if they don't want to. So
yeah, and I mean, chances are though a good number of them are going to talk. So there's nothing for them. They're done. And the article goes on, but we're just gonna end it off right there. If you like to read up more on it, we'll post it down below. So there you have it. What do you think about all of that in its entirety?
just insane that could happen and no one notices.
There's really nothing more that can be said. It's just it's awful. It's incredibly heartbreaking, and I only hope for the best for these children, and hopefully that they can recover, even those who are the oldest. But
I hope they get the help they need and can get out and try to live a normal life.
man, it's just I honestly could not imagine. It makes you really just think about like your parents. You think about like, man, fuck. Sometimes the parents piss me off, but you can always say to yourself, at least they don't chain me up and keep me so malnourished to the point where I look 5 years younger than I am. So there you have that, guys. You wanna do the sign off?
Well, on a depressing note, if you liked what you heard, go ahead and feel free to like and subscribe. It's free. You can do it.
Do it.
No charge, I swear. And we'll be making more episodes soon.
Yeah, make sure to leave a like and a comment. Hope to see you soon. We will hopefully come back on a much lighter note next time.
Peace.
Peace, bitches.